Let's ramble.
Bebop.
That's right. It's time for the weekly ramble, where I take a timer, set it for 22 minutes, and ramble about art. Here we go. I'm going to start off, I guess, with what was on my mind today. I don't know why I thought of this, but I guess I was thinking about a lot of things regarding, I guess, showing art. And I don't know how that seems so distant. As of now, I only sell art online, which when I was a starry eyed little artist back in college, I never would have pictured that. It was about being at a place and, you know, having box wine and cheese. And I don't know what it was about when I really look back at it. I never truly enjoyed that process. It was okay. I liked it okay, but it just seems really weird now. It seems very disconnected, and that's what I felt. I felt a disconnect between what I do and an art show. But so this one, and so what I would do is at first I just started putting my artwork up, and then got in with other artists, and then groups and galleries. So I would do call for entries, and at that time my medium was photography, and so I got into this annual juried thing, and the, the piece I made was pretty larger scale, and what it was a picture in an office, and then there was a man laying in the middle of the office face down while everybody else worked, and it was called Man Dies. And I think I'd just seen a Basquiat exhibit, and on this one piece, he kept making the universal symbol for man dies, which he liked to keep books of symbols. And I just thought that was cool. And so that I was riffing off of that. And, it was in the show. So we go to show night, and there's a bunch of artists in the show. And there is an opportunity to speak about the the art that you have in the show. So my turn came, and everybody, yeah, the reaction that Peace got was like it was humorous, and it was. And so I get to talk about it, and they're like, what's it about? So I explained the symbol thing, but the other thing that I explained is I remember when I was in college, sometimes we would carpool with my dad, and so I remember getting to his job, and so my dad still works on cars, but at this dealership there was an office next to the shop. And my dad had told me this story about, I don't remember who was who, but basically there was an argument in that office, and one person had, this is so funny living in the age of social media, unalive the other man. So that happened. And for however long that semester was, and really the rest of the time my dad worked there, which was a while, I would I would look at that office, and it was weird because people were just, you know, that's where I guess parts came in or something. So they just go in there, and it was an office. But I thought about that guy, and that's the second part of where that juried piece came from. And I remember all of the expressions on the people listening to me fade away. And especially as a youngster, I, I had that effect. And I guess the reason I was thinking about it is because I see it in one of my kids. And I thought about what is that? And then I thought that's why I thought about that story. And then that piece of art that I made. And whenever I do something like that artistically, that is more like dark humor, where that comes from. And so processing that story, remembering that story, I realized that really it's just me tuning in to the frequency of reality. That thing happened in that office and life kept going. And that's just how it is. Things, I mean, it makes sense. And I guess there is something twisted about that. But the only real thing that I was doing in that instance was reflecting that back. And I think seeing truth like that can be uncomfortable. And I guess that's where the those smiling faces changed, which reminds me of my undergraduate. No, it was my graduate thesis on was on Nathaniel West. So I'm going to bore you with literature here, but he was one of the last of the modernists in literature, right before it goes postmodern. So he's this very bizarre blend of dark writing, dark humorous writing. And I remember one of the criticisms I read of him said, I wish I knew the exact quote, but pretty much that Nathaniel West's humor was the type of humor that when you were done laughing, your face had turned its smile into a sour grimace. And oh man, I love that. Like, because that's what reality can be sometimes. And I guess there's choices to to um to laugh or not to laugh. Yeah. But that was, and just thinking about even Nathaniel West's writing, the darkness that came from that was just a mirror of human existence. And I guess it's just sometimes as creatives, we pick and choose what we want to talk about. In Nathaniel West's, uh, in his world, I remember Miss Lonely Hearts was the first thing I read. And it was like a Dear Abby type situation where people would write in and Miss Lonely Hearts would answer. And it turns out that it was all types of twisted. this guy, the main character, is Miss Lonely Hearts, and then so he's answering these letters, and there's a twisted dark humor to the book, but then there's these bleak situations that they come from through the letters. And yeah, like I said, I know why my headspace was there today, because the weird thing about children is just as I see reality reflected in expression in art, you see yourself reflected in these little things that came from you. Which yeah, talk about dark humor. But I'm glad I at least empathize with her, because I do not think my parents did or do. So, and but what you do learn, I think, in parenthood is that this is a hard gig, much harder than being an artist. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, today I was also I was thinking more about this I guess content creation, and I'll be thinking about that for a while, because I am making content. I'm continuously trying to improve it, being more and more thoughtful about it. But I watched a few things earlier before this, and the one guy said, don't do it unless this is you love this thing, and that was interesting, because it's funny, in the process of making all this, I am starting to love it. I'm starting to get more comfortable with the format. I'm starting to think about, especially I started doing the nightly musings, starting to think of those as a piece, and especially coming from a literature background. And then again, that whole thing of thinking that as visual artists, we have these multi-dimensional tools at our disposal, and why not use them? And why not have fun with them? And why not find the artistry in them? And why not exploit that? Basically, why not? Yeah. But I've been heavy in that space, and the thing I've really liked about doing the nightly musing, which happens pretty much every day. The weekly rambles, I guess the long version now, but just doing those and evolving them is it's interesting, because I'm catching up on the uploading to because I'll put out audio versions and then video versions, and I just it hasn't been that long since I started doing the nightly ones, but I'm seeing like what's now the early episodes. It's funny. and and then further thinking about that, what I've always done in life. I'll give an example. I think I was 4, and my parents are taking me to the pool to learn to swim. They're going to teach me. And so I get to the pool, and then I hop right in, and I hear my parents, I hear the commotion. They're like yelling, and I don't understand, so I'm in the pool. I've never been in a pool, but there I was just swimming. And, yeah, I'm 4. I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't have an ounce of apprehension apparently, or a regard for the emotions of my parents. But I guess a lot of my art career has been no different. The camera I was drawn to because we had them around the house. I was fascinated by the process of taking these images, and then my mom would take them to the pharmacy and we would see what came out. And what's really funny is years later my mom would tell the story about going to the pharmacy, and she would discard these weird pictures that were in there until one day she realized that those were mine. And I think I was in my late 20s when she told that story, maybe younger. And I got quiet, and I said, all that time I thought you didn't like my early work. Yeah. And, but, I mean, that was another thing where I didn't know what I was doing with the camera, but I kept fooling with it. I mean, drawing just my I credit my mom with a lot of that. But even just deciding, because I had a career as a photographer. That's what I did until one day I didn't. And I had a friend ask me why. He went to a show expecting to see my photographs, and he sees these paintings, and he said, "You're painting?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because I can." And yeah, it's just always been that way. And I don't know where that comes from. And I don't know. I guess I don't question it too much, but I am reflecting on it as I'm doing these nightly things and sharing. I think, yeah, I'm sharing because I'm still figuring out this thing now. I'm diving into this pretty deep now. I have a streaming subscription, which I'm still learning streaming, but it's another thing where I just jumped in the pool. And I think that's important. And that was a thing I was watching, was that, especially video making, content making, you just have to start making it and then it improves. And that's what I was talking about with making nightly ones. It improves. And then you start to see that there's an art to it. I guess the difference is, when I'm listening to that stuff, it's very much about like going viral and this and that. And I don't believe that's my aim. I mean, that'd be good. That'd be good because it's attention, but I don't know. That part, especially somebody who's narrative conscious creatively, I don't know. I don't know what to, I don't know that I have to feel anything about it, but I think it's where I differ. And I think that's okay. But I think I again love about it is, well, the self awareness I'm tapping into, but it's also the connection that it breeds. I started by making videos just to not knowing what I was doing, showing my work. And then, yeah, it was this past year that I was thinking, okay, well, I've done that. It's done well for me, but it's like I want more. And then it's like, why do I want more? And I think the honest answer is that I was getting bored. And so now there's this, and then there will be another thing, and another thing, and another thing until I'm not here anymore. And then maybe transcripts of me will exist out there. Yeah. I guess it's been a very existential day, just pondering place in the universe, and then place in creativity. But it's an important, those are important thoughts if you're making and communicating. Yeah. I'm very, now I don't know. I think I'm very happy with this ramble. I think the musings the nightlies are affecting my cohesiveness. It's not as scattered. We stuck to one theme pretty much. So that's an achievement, I think. I think, yeah, very good. Let's see. Let's bring up something random though. What else went on today? That nothing was art related, I guess. Those were all pretty heavy topics. Other than that, I was thinking about wrestling cards, which they're important. I have some actually. All right, so added into my well, I'm at post ramble. Here we'll just show cards real quick. I got a Mark Henry during his sexual chocolate phase. I got this cool rock. I'm so happy because I got these really cheap. I got like there was more, but these are my keepers. Stone Cold there. These are 1998, I think. And then a Mick Foley. So yeah, there you go. That was rambly. That is more informed. I will sign off of the ramble right now, and then I'll poke around, see if anybody's awake on the live streams. All right. I will see you next time.
Bebop.